Hello and welcome to this video. I know a few years back I've talked about some of my experiences, but today we're going to be talking about the next generation, aka my kids. Mainly my son and the recent events. My daughter used to giggle and talk to assumed ghosts or spirits that we couldn't see. But her gifts kind of have evolved as she's gotten older, because now she's 8, into being closer to my mom's gifts, which are more animal related and talking to animals and the spirits of animals and just more in that realm. While as my son, not only is he hyperactive like me and have anxiety like me, but he seems to be more sticking with similar gifts to me. He's extremely empathetic, extremely caring, very gentle, very sensitive to everything. But since I moved into my current place, I, as well as my partner, knew that there was something here. We knew that there was a dark and bad, like a darker, but also good. I can speak on one incident that early, I think within a couple weeks of moving here, on the baby monitor, I saw like 3 entities near Milo's bed, my son's bed. And I think the end of December, early January, I was showering and the water all of a sudden out of the blue turned hot. And at the same time, my partner just all of a sudden got like a boost of a depressive feel. And when I went back into the bathroom to, dry my hair and such, I was looking in the mirror and the shower is behind the mirror. And I saw something real quick. And it was the feeling that I got was more like this overwhelming like darkness and depression and anxiety. Since being here, I just had Reiki done. Since being here, my chakras are completely out of whack. My third eye and my crown chakra, which usually, regardless of what's going on in my life, are the 2 that are the most open. And it took almost like a half hour for the person to be able to even get into my crown chakra, because it was so blocked. And she got it to a point where it was like almost gated and the energy was starting to flow out. And we assume that it has to do with protecting myself from the dark. But since May, I've been doing a bunch of cleansing, either weekly or bi-weekly, throughout the house. And my son, so now we're going to get into him. My son, out of the blue, around the same period that I started cleansing the house, comes up to me and says, he's 3, that we need black salt, and asked if I had any. And I said, you want black salt? And he goes, yeah, for the ghosties. So we put black salt on each doorway, but he wanted to make sure it was on his door, which when we moved in here, everything was supposed to be cleaned and, as it's supposed to when you move into a new place. But the bathtubs and their bedroom floor were not clean, and I had to do a lot of scrubbing, and it was like reddish, brownish, blackish mixtures. The whole vibe was very dark, and I had been cleansing, but not as often as I should have been. And anyway, so my son says the black salt. When my partner would have to work late, and by that I'd let my son stay up like maybe a half hour later than normal, and it would start getting a little dark, he'd want to go ghosty hunting, as he called it. He wanted to go look for the ghosties, and he always wanted a flashlight in his room. Then I noticed that he started, after the cleansing a few times, talking and staying up late talking. And he's a Gemini, so at first he's a Gemini that's hyperactive, so I assumed, okay, maybe he's just rambling to himself. But then I talked to him about it, and I said about 2 weeks ago, I said to him, I'm like, who are you talking to? And he said, a ghostie. And I said, are they good? Is it good? Is it nice? And he was like, mm-hmm. And then I asked, where did the ghostie go? Because I asked if the ghostie was still there. And he said, in the wall. And I said, which wall? And he pointed up. And then I said, well, where did the ghostie come from when they came to talk to you? And he pointed up. And the reason I went in that time was because him and my daughter share a room right now, because it helps him soothe. And I'm hearing him talk after she's already asleep. She's completely oblivious to this. And their room is very sensory. That's another reason why they're sharing a room right now, is so that all the toys can be in the other room. And it's not sensory overload, since they both have sensory, like both are sensitive and have sensory issues. So she's asleep and he's still talking, and he's like looking over, and he's totally moved over to the edge of his bed and looking over, and he's moving the blanket around and like as if he's adjusting or making room for a friend. So that's why I went in and talked to him that time. And going back a couple months prior to that, when I first started doing more regularly routined cleansings of the house, I remember asking him if are the ghosties still here? And he goes, no, the ghosties are gone. And after one morning, I think it was like probably the second week of June or so, around his birthday, he woke up and he said, the ghosties are gone. No more ghosties. And then yesterday, we were at my parents' house. Well, my kids and my partner were with my mom, and I was getting Reiki. And when I got back, my mom tells me that Milo, while she was watching him, saw my dad. My dad died when I was 3. Milo's 3. And I guess he was somewhat scared of my dad. But I know that when my dad does come in ghost form and my mom like sees or feels him, he's in his old military uniform and he's coming in more of like a commanding manner. And I guess my dad's spirit told Milo that he was his grandpa. And he goes, you're not my grandpa, because my stepdad was there, and he points that that's his grandpa. And then he starts screaming for my partner, saying, daddy, daddy, daddy. But he goes and tells my mom, like, what he saw. So that was, like, the most recent. And it seems like it's starting to develop more and more. Because when I was his age, that was when I started, I think in one of my videos I talked about the girl that I saw on and off throughout my life. And I thought I was 5, but I was actually younger, because it was before my mom got with my stepdad. And that's when I was 5. So, but it was at the same apartment. So I'm guessing it was probably around his age, or like 4. But my mom said that I used to stay up talking to things as well. And I remember always being scared to go to sleep. When I was a kid and a teenager, like regardless of like how strong I was, or the fact that I would actually like initiate with spirits and stuff like that, I still would get scared, because I knew that they existed and I had experienced them and I had seen them. And I also know that like not all of them are like the best to obviously associate with. And now he says like that he's scared to sleep, that he doesn't want to go to sleep. And that might be associated with some residual in the body feel trauma from his infancy, because he did have to always be held very tightly to sleep until he was 2. But I don't know if it's necessarily that, or just because of what he's experiencing. But he's very obsessed with the ghosties. Like, that's what he calls them. And he will tell me if they're here or not. Yesterday night, I talked to him about the ones within our home because of what the adults here had seen and felt. And I asked him, well, how many good ones are there? And he said 3, which is strange because I did see those 3 that time. And I'm like, well, how many of the ones you didn't like that aren't here anymore were there? And he goes, 4. So right now, what it seems to be, what's going on is that now that I have cleansed the house enough, at least for the time being, that whatever residual negative spirits might be attached to this area or what have you, or attached to the good ones, which I do have my own idea of what might be happening. Now that they're gone, the good ones, as my son says, are appearing more and are talking to him more. And I don't feel the feeling that I used to have. Up until the routine cleansing and Milo bringing up black salt, I would come home from work or just wherever I'd be from, or even just being outside of the home and then coming in, and I'd feel like this very heavy weight. I hated being home, and usually as a Taurus, I enjoy being home, and it's a place of comfort to me. But the vibe and the energy flow, like no matter how zen I tried to create the home, no matter how I tried to, decorate and bring in certain crystals or what have you, it would not feel like the right flow of energy. Like, it just didn't feel right. And I remember in the beginning too, like the first couple of months, we moved here in October. It's like October until like January, I'd say. I didn't really, even myself, like going down to their side of the house, because there's the kitchen and the living room is in the middle, and then the big bedroom is down on one side with an attached bathroom. Then the 2 bedrooms, so like the bedroom and their playroom, and then their bathroom is down there. They don't like using their bathroom. Neither of the kids do. They don't want to use their bathroom. And even though I experienced and saw stuff in my bathroom, it's been quite cleansed. But for a while, I was even putting the light on in my bathroom after that incident. And I just feel like it's much better now. But it's interesting that he'll stay up for like 2-3 hours just talking, and it's like he's having an actual conversation. It's not just rambles. So that is the next generation, I guess, paranormal experiences. Like I said, my daughter had experienced some things when she was little, but I think her gifts are more aligned with my mom's. And so when she was young, I'd say up until about 2, she would see things, and she'd like talk a little bit. Like I remember her being about like 1 or so, and she was sitting up in her crib and she was laughing and giggling and talking to something. And this is when I still live, or even under 1, when she was even like 6 months old. I remember, because I was at the time temporarily staying at my parents'. It was because we moved into the old apartment when she was like 1.5 years. So it was like a year period where on and off she'd just sit up and she'd be laughing in her crib. But there was never anything to this level where she'd be talking, she'd be bringing up stuff like black salt, just out of the blue. I mean, I teach my children stuff, like I do pagan parenting, but my 3-year-old didn't know what black salt was yet, or what the purpose was. And when I asked him why he wanted it, he said it will help from the bad ghosties. So that's all I got to say about that. I'm gonna be trying to do videos more often. I know I've said that before, but now I do have more time, and with both kids going to school come fall and me focusing primarily on my business right now, which will be linked below, the lilytheapothecary, I am going to be able to have more time to make videos. So any video ideas, whether it's about goddesses or gods you want to learn about, different types of magic, more paranormal experiences, healing, anything like that, let me know. I also could make a video. I'm thinking if I have enough time next week to do a Venus retrograde video, so people, for like an introduction. Also with my business, I am putting out about 50 new products within the next month. I'm hoping I'm going to at least have some of it by the end of the month. It's going to be a chakra line, so there'll be a roller ball for each chakra. Then there'll be a set where you can get all of them. There'll be mists, sprays, massage oils, which can also be used for body oils, and then bath salts. And then there'll be sets for each chakra. And then, like I said, there'll be a roller ball set of all the chakras. With the sets, I will be adding a dropper oil, which can be used in the bathtub. It can be used in hair or on skin. Or candles as well for a boost of magic. So with that, I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.